She wiped her tears with the sleeve of her uniform, hoping no one saw. But someone did, and when the undercover boss heard what she whispered, he froze. Amira was only 19, but life had aged her soul. She stood behind the diner counter in a stained apron, voice hoarse, hands trembling. She had worked the overnight shift with no break, and now she was back again, barely standing. But what broke her was not exhaustion. It was the call she had just received. The hospital wanted answers and money. Her little brother Malik's chemo was being delayed again. Amira had no answers, just fear and love. No one at the diner knew she was raising him alone, that her parents had died in a car crash 2 years ago, that she had sold her own school books, missed meals, and even walked home in thunderstorms just to save enough for his medicine. She was just the quiet cashier, always polite, always tired, always overlooked. But today, something cracked. She turned her back to the line of customers, gripped the counter edge, and whispered through clenched teeth, "God, just give me away, please. I'll clean floors forever if I have to. Just let my brother live." She thought no one heard, but at the back of the diner, a new janitor had paused. The man in the gray hoodie and gloves was not who he seemed. His name was Daniel Carrington, founder and CEO of the very diner chain Amira worked for. He was undercover, checking on complaints that some franchise managers were exploiting workers. But this was beyond anything he expected. Daniel watched her from a distance. Something in her voice. It was raw, real. Too many people wore pain on their faces, but few carried it like her. Quiet, invisible, and burning from the inside out. Then, suddenly, the manager barked, "Amira, clock out and mop the bathroom. You're lucky I even let you keep this job with your attitude." She flinched, not because of the words, but because she had not said a word at all. Daniel clenched his jaw. He was not supposed to interfere, not yet. But what he saw next shattered his silence. As Amira walked past him, head down, he noticed something drop from her pocket. He picked it up, a folded, tear-stained paper, a hospital bill. It had one word in bold: "Past due, chemotherapy hold." Daniel looked up. His eyes followed her trembling figure, and in that moment, the mission changed. He had come to audit, but now he was about to turn this entire diner and Amira's life upside down. The mop bucket sloshed as Amira quietly disappeared down the hall, trying to hold it together. But Daniel's hands were clenched into fists. The hospital bill still sat in his hoodie pocket, burning like a secret he could no longer ignore. He had seen a lot in his years as CEO. Lazy staff, greedy franchise owners, fake smiles. But what he saw in that girl's eyes was different. She was not asking for pity. She was surviving without help, working herself into the ground, and no one cared. Well, someone was about to. Daniel followed the voice of the shouting manager, who was now joking loudly with 2 other employees behind the kitchen window. "Man, that girl acts like the world owes her something. You see her crying again? I don't care if she's raising 5 kids and a monkey. Just clock in and work." The others laughed. Daniel stepped forward. He looked just like another janitor. No name tag, no clipboard, just a hoodie, jeans, and eyes that had seen enough. "I heard her brother has cancer," he said flatly. The laughter stopped. The manager turned, annoyed. "Who asked you? Mind your mop, man." Daniel smiled slowly. "I'll do that after I ask you a few questions about payroll, staff mistreatment, and illegal scheduling practices." The manager squinted. "Who the hell do you think you are?" Daniel pulled out his wallet. Out slid a card. Gold lettering, heavy paper. Daniel Carrington, CEO and founder, Carrington Diner Group. Silence. The color drained from the manager's face. Wait, what?" "I own this diner," Daniel said calmly, "and 27 more like it. And I just spent 5 hours undercover watching how you run this one." Panic spread like wildfire. One of the cooks dropped a tray. The server backed into the soda machine. But Daniel's eyes were steady, focused. He walked past them, straight toward the hallway. "Where are you going?" the manager croaked. "To talk to Amira." Amira was crouched on the bathroom floor, scrubbing tile with raw hands. She looked up startled as the man in the hoodie entered. I cleaned it already. Sorry if it is not perfect. I can..." "Amira," he interrupted gently. "You do not need to apologize. Not ever again." She blinked in confusion. "I heard what you said earlier about your brother, about cleaning floors forever." He stepped closer and took something from his pocket. The bill. "I picked this up after you dropped it. I know what you're going through." Her face went pale. "Please, I didn't mean to. They'll fire me." "No," he said firmly. "They won't. In fact, that manager, he already has 5 violations logged, and this," he held up the bill, "this ends today." Tears welled up in her eyes, but she stayed silent. She was crying behind the counter, begging quietly on the phone. She thought no one was listening, but the man mopping the floor was not a janitor. He owned the company. What he heard that day, it shattered his heart and changed the future of every employee in that store. Do not scroll. The ending will leave you in tears. "I'm going to handle the treatment costs. Every cent. You don't owe me anything. But I need you to trust me, because this isn't charity, Amira. It's justice." Amira dropped the sponge. Her hands covered her mouth. Why would you do that?" Daniel finally smiled. "Because I was raised by a woman just like you." But what happened next at the staff meeting left everyone frozen in their seats.
The diner was unusually quiet. Then a voice came through the intercom. "All staff, report to the front, now." Everyone stopped. The fryers hissed. Phones dropped into aprons. Even the district manager's eyes widened. Because that voice, it was not from a janitor. It was Daniel Carrington, CEO, billionaire, owner of the entire franchise chain. The moment he stepped into the room, suited and silent, the air changed. Gone was the quiet man mopping floors. Now he stood at the center, with Amira beside him, still in her apron, eyes red from crying. He began calmly. "I spent hours here, unnoticed, watching, listening. What I saw changed everything." His eyes landed on the district manager. "You ignored a crying girl behind the counter." He turned to the kitchen supervisor. "You mocked her, laughed, then blamed her for being slow." No one said a word. The silence screamed. Daniel looked at the staff. "This woman, this cleaner, feeds you with kindness every shift. She picks up your messes, covers your hours, shares her tips, cries in the storage room so no one else has to." Amira looked down, but Daniel gently lifted her chin. She asked for no favors, only a chance to work. Then his voice deepened, and yet she was treated like trash. He turned to the crowd. "Effective immediately, Amira is no longer the cleaner." Gasp. "She is now assistant general manager, with double pay, full medical for her and her family, and starting today, her little brother's cancer treatment is fully funded." Amira gasped. Her knees buckled. Daniel caught her. She whispered through tears, "Is this real?" Daniel smiled softly. "Yes, because someone finally saw you." The staff stood in stunned silence. But Daniel was not done. His face hardened. "And as for those who mocked her," he pointed toward the kitchen, "you are terminated right now." The supervisor's jaw dropped. You cannot just fire." "Oh, I can, and I will, because this place will be rebuilt on respect, and it starts now." Then he looked at Amira again. "And if you accept it, this entire chain will one day be yours to help run, because I am not just offering you a promotion, Amira, I am offering you a future." And just like that, the girl no one noticed became the woman everyone would talk about forever. But what happened when she returned home that night? The phone call she received left her frozen in place, and what she discovered next will break your heart. Amira stood outside her small apartment, still in shock. She had walked home with Daniel Carrington's words echoing in her head. "You are no longer the cleaner, you are the future." She clutched her little brother's hand, Malik, just 7, fighting leukemia since Christmas. And for the first time in years, she dared to believe things might change. But just as she opened the door, her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello?" she whispered. A pause. Then came a deep voice, soft, broken. "Amira? My name is Dr. Solomon. I handled your mother's case." Her chest tightened. "My mother? She passed away 3 years ago." Another pause. "I know, but she left something behind. Something meant for you. Something we were never able to deliver until now." Amira's hands trembled. That night, a courier arrived. He handed her a sealed envelope. Inside was a letter and a photo. Her mother, smiling, radiant, standing beside a young man in a business suit. Behind them was a building, Carrington & Co., headquarters. Amira blinked. She turned the photo over. It read, "To Daniel, if I do not survive, promise me you will find her. Help her rise when I no longer can. She is stronger than she knows." It was signed Layla Hassan, her mother. And Daniel Carrington's eyes widened when Amira showed him the letter the next morning. He took a breath, voice shaking. "I knew your mother. She saved my company from a lawsuit when I was just starting out. She was brilliant, and she made me swear I would help the daughter she loved more than life." Amira could barely speak. "All this time, you knew her?" He nodded. "I searched for years. I never found you, until the day I walked into that diner and saw a young woman, kind and powerful, wiping counters with tears in her eyes." Amira broke down. "She was my everything." Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then let us honor her, together." Months passed. The diner reopened, rebranded. Amira stood at the ribbon-cutting ceremony, this time in a suit, no longer invisible. Behind her, posters read, "The Hassan Initiative. Every worker deserves dignity." And in the front row, her little brother clapped proudly, healthy, smiling. Amira had once been overlooked, ignored, humiliated. But now she was a symbol, not just of survival, but of transformation. And her mother's last wish had come true, because sometimes the quietest souls change the world.